plums, nectarines, apricots. If it grows on a tree and you can grow it in Ohio, we pretty much do. You know, you have to plant in the spring, yes, but then all summer you have to go through and thin and, you know, make sure that the fruit is going to turn out the right size. Then after that, you start picking things like the plums, the peaches, you know, the early fruits. Well, then everything has to be picked by hand. There's no machine. You know, fruit bruises. You can't just have something robotically throwing it in there. It'd just be a mess. So you have to go through by hand and put them in the thing and, you know, process it and wash it and make sure everything's clean. Then you go into apples. Again, you have to pick everything by hand. Once you get all that done, you're sorting and selling. Then it goes into winter, and now you're pruning all the trees and getting them ready for the next year. And by the time you get that done, it's spring, and you're starting planting all over again. Climate is huge in farming, any kind of farm that you do, especially with our orchard work. You know, the 2014 and 2015 winters, with them being so brutally cold, it pretty much freeze-dried the trees. I mean, it got to the point we had temperatures, I think it was like -16 a couple days with just howling winds. That's not good for fruit trees. I mean, of course the sap was all down at the roots, but it couldn't go far enough down to not freeze. So the trunks busted open on the trees and sap came out. The little new growth was just freeze-dried and turned black. The new blossoms just froze, especially the peach trees, because they're not as hardy as like a lot of the apple varieties. They didn't make it. I mean, a lot of orchard people lost their fruit trees. As the fall starts really kicking in and, you know, the new season's crop starts to come in, you do see the price go down, just because the big box stores, they can lower their price to almost rock bottom low pricing. So unfortunately, we do have to try to keep our prices a little lower than we would probably like to, so that way we're even in the ballpark of competing with them. But inevitably, they can always go lower than we can, just because of our overhead that we have. You know, we'll have a product and we want to sell it for, you know, $2 a pound or whatever, and they flood the market and say it should be, you know, $1 a pound. It just makes it hard. Then the consumer says, well, I'm not going to buy this local product that's fresh from you at the market or wherever because I can get it cheaper. Well, cheaper isn't always better. Sometimes you get what you pay for. I don't really think that the average person knows what goes on in farming. I kind of feel like most of them just think their food comes from the grocery store, and they don't bother to think beyond that. I don't think that they think about, okay, that chicken nugget I just ate at one point was a chicken. Well, where was that chicken running around at? You know, they don't think about, well, this applesauce that I'm buying that's in this cute little container for my kid's lunch. Well, where did that apple come from? You know, I don't think that they think about any of that. They just think it's at the grocery store, and that's where it's from. People are always worried about, you know, oh, is this organic? Well, if it's from the U.S., it's not nearly as big a deal if it's organic or not, because we're regulated. Things that we haven't been able to use in decades, other countries still are using. You know, that's the kind of herbicides and pesticides and stuff that you don't want on your food, and you don't want those residuals in your body. Not really the stuff here. There's like the residuals from every other country, you know, and then there's IPM, which is what we do, Integrated Pest Management, where we have a scout come out and tell us you have this or that problem, we only treat for those things, and that's all we do. We try to use as little sprays in general as possible. Then you have organic, which is just slightly under IPM. They still use all the pesticides and herbicides, it's just a smaller list of different types, but they apply a lot more often. Then you have all natural, which is absolutely nothing done to it. The problem is people want absolutely nothing done to it in an all natural product, but they want it to look absolutely perfect and waxed and shiny and pretty and all the exact same size like they see in the grocery store from everywhere else in the country, you know, and in the world. They don't understand that bugs and diseases and everything else affect your produce. I mean, not just apples, but everything else as well. They want perfect product, but they want nothing on them. It's hard to balance. I just had a man the other day ask me, why aren't there any cherries at the farmer's market? Well, it's March. I mean, there's not any cherries. Washington, D.C. just bloomed like a week ago or something. You gotta wait like 3 months before they're even gonna be ready. Go to a farmer's market, talk to the farmer, ask them, when was this grown? How do you grow it? Just all those simple questions to learn more about what you're eating, what you're putting in your body.